Even if it wasn't eyeball-searing yellow, this car would probably get your attention. It's the most competent Porsche 911 that doesn't scream, "Look at me." Well, except for that color. Let's drive the 2011 Porsche 911 Carrera GTS and check the tech. 911s occupy a special place, but depending on how you come to them, that place is either the ultimate driver's tool or the ultimate tool for tools. But the GTS places you in the former category pretty squarely, because it means you are savvy enough to pick it out from a litter of almost 24 siblings. That includes cabs, Targas, S's, 4s, turbos, special GTs, and the Speedster. Classic lines inside a GTS. This is Porsche stuff from both the past, with the 5 circles of gauges, and the current, which is this new center stack. You'll get this 7-inch, I think it is, LCD on all GTS Carreras, but you won't have navigation unless you add that a la carte. Sources are fairly straightforward. This car is not cutting edge in that way. You've got AM and FM, but you don't have HD radio on this car. Bass is going to be a single slot for CD and DVD, but there is a 6-disc that's optional. You see in here in the console, I've got my hookup for, what do we got? AUX, USB, and a special connector that gives you iPod and another USB pigtail. I believe that's optional though. Don't get too excited about that SIM card slot. That's not for internet access for like Google services or anything. That's just a tease. In the European market, I believe that powers built-in telephony. In the US market, it just says screw you. Oh, I see, you're looking at this, aren't you? This is kind of cool. Little tiltable vintage chronograph. It's part of the Sport Chrono package. Now, you can use that to time your runs, but it's also part of a package that can hot up the drivetrain and make this car even faster than it is in the straight condition. Now, because our car has nav, I can show you what the map quality looks like. It's gotten better. This one's got a good angle of view. It's still lower than a lot of car systems, but that's just how a 911 cabin is laid out. Notice it is a touchscreen system. It reacts pretty quickly. I seem to recall these were pretty pokey a generation or two ago. And you can also use this knob right here to turn and click to select. These seats make me nervous. Now, a GTS comes standard with this mix of leather on the bolsters and Alcantara, mouse fur, down the middle. These always bother me. Every time I get in, I feel like I'm making it another step toward being bald on the corners or the edges, you know? And this drives me nuts. It's also a standard GTS thing. They paint this center console body color. It just feels cheap or like some kind of a dune buggy to me. You can option that into leather, carbon, metallized finish, but you know what that means. Now's a good time to change gears and make a run to Rob King's Escargot Racing in San Rafael, California, where Pat Sexton can put the GTS in perspective. He's a Porsche certified master mechanic, but more importantly, he's been tuning Porsches since he was 17. And at the shop, fast, rare, and racing Porsches pretty much litter the ground. Just the kind of jaundiced eye I want to look over the GTS. Hi, Pat. Now, I'm a little bewildered. I was looking at the Porsche site before we came over to visit you guys, and I count 23 911s in the stable these days. You got to help me figure out where this one fits in the lineup.
This would come in just above the 911S, but below the GT3. It's more of a street car, in my opinion, whereas the GT3 is going to be more useful on a track.
A lot of folks want to know, how do I spot one 911 from another?
The 911S body, the wheels with the center locks.
Those are real center locks, right?
Correct.
Not some little fake cap.
No, no, no. Little features like the blacked out bottom lip area.
Yeah, the whole bottom edge.
Yeah.
Now, in the rear, as with every 911, we have now one of the most covered up engines.
Yeah, there's
you used to
really,
be able to see stuff in here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to distinguish what we're looking at here.
Looks full to me.
Yeah, there's not much room. There's not much room to do anything in here.
I don't envy your job having to work on these.
Yeah, it's not easy, that's
How are
for
those
sure.
knuckles looking? Let me see.
They're not bad. This is a 3.8 liter, 408 horsepower.
Yeah, and they're all 3.8 liter for the most part at this point.
Yeah, but they gave this one 23 more horsepower to give it a little bit more oomph.
Over an S.
Over an S.
And an S has significant over a standard.
Correct.
911. So you've got a couple bumps built in here.
Yes, and that's why I'd put it up right below the GT3.
This car's got a button it has the exhaust logo on it, the Sport exhaust. What is that doing?
It's bypassing part of the system to make it more notable, so that it's louder.
Just noise.
Just noise.
It just makes you feel good.
Oh yes, that's what it's all about, is that note, that engine sound that makes it distinguished from any other vehicle.
It sounds like something escaping hell.
You can always tell when a 911 is driving by. It does take some time to get used to a 911 because all the weight's in the back. You've got the engine and transmission in front of it, all located in the back of the vehicle.
So that's the old knock on these cars, is that they're not a car for the amateur who is full of himself. You can get in trouble on them. Is that still the case with all the stability controls and stuff? Do you find them tricky to drive now?
No, not at all. This car will make anybody a fast driver, but you can still get yourself in trouble.
Well, enough talking about it. Let's go for a ride.
Okay, sounds good.
This is where I normally take you for a drive, but Pat hammers Porsches every day to make sure his handiwork isn't going to come unscrewed. I think I'll let him drive.
It's a car that can really be made to run.
Yeah,
When you know what you're doing.
it's just so. Yeah, like I said, it'll make a good driver out of anybody, just because of what it does and how well it does it.
So that's a really quick way to get to 100.
No, we didn't do that.
This car wasn't, no, I mean in theory anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
This car didn't really break a sweat.
Oh,
Right?
not at all, not at all. That was, I stretched its legs a little bit, but not quite as much as it can go. It's a phenomenal car.
Okay, pricing any 911 in less than an hour is futile. No company offers more options and bespoke touches, all of them expensive. A GTS bases at 104 grand delivered. Almost everything tech is a la carte. But this is one of those few cars that really wants to be ordered without any of it. Or that yellow paint.